Hey everybody, this is Industrial Action here, and today I am bringing to you something very special. As you know, Nigon has been working really hard on his igniter board, and he has come out with a new feature, or a couple of new features in the R2 version of the firmware that I think you guys are really going to be excited about, and it is really kind of a revolution. With R2, what you're able to do now is to set separate colors for your blasters versus your lockup. So your clashes will have a color that will match up with your blasters, and then you've got your lockup color, which is a completely separate color if you want to set it up that way. In addition to that, as if that wasn't good enough, is the shade function. So with shade, what you can do is set a variation between the colors. So for instance, if you're set to say 50 on your shade, it will vary between the color range in there so that you'll see different colors come through your clashes and lockup each time you go through, but only within that variance, that slight variance. So the range goes from 0, which is the shade is completely off, up to 255. So that's the full range going through all the different dyes and colors. This is really exciting, and I'll go through a demo of what it looks like and a couple different setups that I put into CorSec here. So if you remember CorSec, this is the saber. To start off, I'll go to Rain Sizzle, and for Rain Sizzle, I've got this set up with, let's see, we've got a blue blade, we've got orange for lockup, and I've got red for blasters. So you'll see the variation in there, and I have shade set to 0. And by the way, this version of Igniter was used for the original CorSec demo, so I was actually using that when I showed the first demo. I just had the new features turned off. So you can adjust these through the config program. Alright, so there's my blue blade for Rain Sizzle. And here is my blaster. So there's my orange. Now, we'll do lockup. Oh, look, lockup is red. Lockup. Blasters. So, very cool. Orange and red. That's just so you can see a little bit of variation in there. This is, if you wanted to do just something mild. Again, you might be coming up against a Sith, so you've got red blaster bolts coming at you, you've got a red blade coming at you, so you've got kind of a clash that'll match up with that. Power this down. And now I'm going to switch over to Phantom Jedi. So for Phantom Jedi, I have the main set to red, lockup is green, and the blasters are blue. So you'll see a little bit more variation in here. Alright, so there's my red main. Alright, let's go to our blasters. Blue blasters. Again, the shade is set to 0 on this. And here's my lockup. Oh, look at that, green lockup. So again, red main, blue blasters, green lockup. How cool is that? Alright, so now we'll power this down. And I'm going to go to TFU Star Killer. Now on this one, I've used Nigon's recommended settings. So this one I have shade set to 40. So he says between a range of 20 and 40 gives you a nice variation with the shade function, but it's not so dramatic that it looks strange or like you're fighting a million enemies. So switch this over.
TFU Star Killer.
Power it up. Got my nice pink. And I put some blade effects on this one, so you'll see some more pulsing than you've seen otherwise. So there's TFU Star Killer. And for this one I have, let's see, My blasters are set to kind of a cyan seafoam green. And you'll see a little bit of variation each time. And that's because I have shade set to 40. So that's blue, cyan, sky blue. I've got a different color every time. Now, if I go into my lockup is set for sort of an orange color. And then I do lockup again. Oh, look, it's kind of yellowish. Do it again. Another orange. A little bit more orange. A little more yellow. So, there is shade set to 40. Again, we've got our pink main, variations of green blasters, seafoam green blasters, and variations of orange. Go back to lockup. And the lockup. Alright, power that down. Alright, so now I'm going to run through these in steps. So basically the first font will be with shade set to 50, the next one will be 75, then 100, 150, 200, and 255. So you can see gradual step-ups of what changing the shade variation does to the look of the saber. So let's go over to speeder bikes. So again, this is the font that I made for CorSec. So there's my white main. Alright, now for this one I set up, let's see, blasters are red with shade set to 50. So you'll see the variation each time I kick off the blasters. Then for lockup, we've got that set to an orange, again with shade at 50. And now you'll see some green, yellow, orange. Got all sorts of variations in there. So that's shade set to 50. Go over to Pod Racer.
Now this is Pod Racer.
We got a blue main, we have lockup on purple, and we have blasters on a lime green. This one has shade set to 75. The really cool thing here is that you'll get a different color as you're doing the blaster moves, so you'll actually see these pop in with different colors the whole range through it. So when you're doing spins and stuff, it really looks like you're coming up against multiple enemies. There's a purple lockup. Variations in there. Red. Pink. All sorts of cool colors. So, again, that's with shade set to 75. Next is Essence, Episode 1. So this is a red main, bright green lockup, and blaster set to deep blue, and the shade on this is set to 75. So if you saw in there, as I was flipping it around, you can actually see purples, pinks, blues, so all sorts of cool variations. We'll do the lockups. There's green. Other shades of green. And this is all based off of what you set as your primary color, and then you've got your shade variation from there. Cool stuff. Alright, next is Electrum. And for this one I have green is the main, cyan for the lockup, and yellow for the blasters. And for this one, I think I actually just powered up Essence again, didn't I? Hang on.
Looks like somebody's beginning to take an interest in the
There's Electrum. And the shade value on this one is set to 150. So there's our green main. All sorts of different colors that were coming out of our blasters. Now with the shade set so high, you can see we get a different color almost every time. So, again, there's a ton of variation in there. So if you're having like an epic battle and you're going up against tons of enemies, you can set the shade super high. It's going to look really realistic. Like you've got a ton of different blasters coming at you. You're fighting a number of different enemies. So you've got your lockups, your clashes, your flashes. They're all different colors. This is really cool. I'm going to go ahead and just skip, instead of going through all of these, I'm going to skip ahead to Stygian General. And on Stygian General, I have it set to 255, so every time, huge variation. So, there's my yellow main. Now, for Stygian General, the primary color is lockup is blue and the blasters are red, but again, with shades set to 255, I'm going to get something different every time. Purple, blue, orange, blue, purple, different purple, pink, different blue. Again, there's red, lockups, pink lockups, red lockups, greens, blues. Got all sorts of cool stuff going on in there. So, that's it for the demo. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Again, Igniter R2 coming to you on May the 4th. Hope you guys are really excited about this. It is definitely a revolution to go from having not only built-in color changing, but now separate colors for your blasters versus your lockup. Your clashes are thrown in there with the blaster colors. Really, really cool stuff is going on. To add to that, you know, you've got the shade function, so you have the variation. So again, you can really make it look realistic, as if you're fighting multiple enemies at any given time. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you don't have Igniter already, pick it up and get on board.